So think about the cataclysm possibilities versus this little tiny bump in history when they're resetting the money. A comet slamming onto an ice sheet and removing 90% of the animals off the planet and dropping global temperatures 15 Celsius in a matter of less than a year is nothing to even think about compared to, oh, your money's going to change. They're not going to use the dollar so much. You're going to have to switch over to a gold-backed currency from Russia and China. Oh, woohoo, I'm so scared. I'm more terrified of the magnetic field flipping on the planet or another comet coming in or massive 12.0 earthquakes ripping through some continents in half than I would be a monetary reset. So if you put it in perspective on where we've been in the last 12,000 years, what we're about to face is really, in the grand scheme of things, insignificant.
I don't know. I'm just questioning. I'm looking at both sides. What do you think?
There's another 3 there. Just like you said, there were 4 tablets and one blew up and there was 3 left. That's another 3 in the whole equation. And what were the cardinal directions on those 3 that were left standing? Because for me, if you look at it traditionally, East is considered, like China and the whole Eastern Asian areas. West is sort of considered in a general terms like Western Europe and the West, United States, that sort of thing, along with the Australia, et cetera. So if you were looking to see the cardinal directions on the one that was evaporated out of there, it probably would have been another signal to be at least a portion and a representation of the winds of the earth of one of those. The West is gone. Okay, that would definitely be pointing toward, the West itself in terms of the economy or whatever you consider. And you got the Eastern and Western and, Southern region, Southern hemisphere, et cetera. So I didn't really even take into that consideration until you started to mention that 3. Just all these thoughts just rolled over me as soon as you said the 4, and then the 3 were standing there. I wish I got this information download. That was crazy. Just all these things rolled in there. That was a bit bizarre, man.
We need to do more of these conversations because we seem to take it to the next level every time we talk. Just iron sharpens iron.
So if anybody wants to do the homework on that, really see which pillar that was and which cardinal direction it was, because that would be in serious crystal ball as to which part of the world or which part of the economy was going to completely evaporate and be removed completely. Because the Western economy needs to be removed completely so a new one can emerge. And with the BRICS, the BRICS are coming out with the new gold-backed currencies. So with this whole weird thing about New York putting out a public service announcement that, look out for a nuclear explosion in New York City. Now, see, I'm going along with this here on my line of thought. So yeah, the guidestones are the implementation of the new age beginning. And the BRICS currency is coming in with all the new gold-backed currency and commodities-backed currency. Well, the last thing to do would remove the financial center completely. So it would have to move somewhere else, and that would be such a stark signal. And without a doubt, everybody would know that era had ended at this point of on the planet being the financial capital of the world is no longer. Has to be moved. So it was just weird the way they put that PSA out there in the financial capital of the planet. Now, arguably, you could say it was Zurich or Beijing or somewhere and there's a lot of people going, no, it's not New York. Yeah, it is New York for now. But with the guidestones happening and all these implementation of new currencies coming in, and then all of a sudden you would have to remove the financial capital. Just as you took one of those tablets down, you would need to take down one of the financial centers that would be the center of the center for strength of the US dollar as a global reserve currency. If that were to be removed, then it would all shift in a matter of seconds. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, warning economic hurricane. The worst is yet to come for Americans. Larry Summers forecast recession ahead, millions of layoffs, big tech companies like Tesla slashing 10% of the workforce. Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs warning market another 20% to fall. Recession, Bloomberg Intelligence forecasting $2,500 gold by the end of the year. Wells Fargo sees gold hitting record highs in 2022. Long-term forecast, gold above 5,000. That's an economic collapse. Call the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late.
Patriot Gold Group has the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the no fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Call 1-800-356-4470 for a free investor guide today. And with the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated IRA gold dealer from 2016 to present, click on that link in the description box below. And now on with the video. And how fast could they re-implement everything and come into central bank digital currencies? If that one event occurred, by the afternoon of that day, we would have a new financial system intact, up and running, with CBDCs, with new points on the globe as financial centers. So that's a little over my pay grade to figure out where those would be, but at least I can see where the base layer is going to lay it out in terms of events, if it were to happen.
Dude, look at this.
And you know that $100 bill, I remember seeing your video, Rex, where you done something on a $100 bill and you maybe it was somebody else's research or whatever, you guys folded them up and then you had the pictures of it where it looked like a tidal wave was rolling down streets in New York City. So if that was an offshore underwater detonation, then it would have sent some sort of tidal wave in versus being an above ground airburst. And, you know, when you fold that new $100 bill, it shows something very similar to a super giant, like, 800-foot tidal wave coming in there or something.
Okay, so that wasn't me on the $100 bill. I did the one with the alien gray looking guy with the.
Yeah, you did. And they analyzed the currency and folding it in different directions, right?
But I have seen that episode. I know exactly which one you're talking about, and that is weird. And that, okay, so this is fascinating because I think it was yesterday that this came out. This for immediate release. Press release. Yeah. New York City Emergency Management introduces nuclear preparedness public service announcance. Although it's
39. There you go again. 3 3s and a 3. Like 3 and 9 is 9 times 3, 27. 7 plus 2 is 9. I mean, you can go any direction you want to go with that.
Well, and okay, so let's go back.
I'm surprised it's not 36, 33.
I know. The 666. The number.
Yeah, 23, 33.
Number 23 is pretty cool, man. There's a lot of mystery between
lots.
23 follows me around like everywhere I go. So back to the guidestones. Check this out. You brought something up about the poles of ticks. The poles of ticks. You know what I'm talking about?
The money. Well,
look at this. In the guidestones, it says, after unite humanity with a living new language, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. That sounds great, but what are you going to do to get people to all be tempered under this 500 million? Are you going to, control their brainwaves? I don't know. Just quick question. But then it says, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Who decides what's fair? Who decides what's just? Number 6 is let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Very interesting. You would have a world order, a global world order that would probably be a part of this galactic council, like I talked about earlier. Now, this is what I like, though. I do like number 7. Number 7, I think, is brilliant. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Brilliant.
That means 98% of them go away, or even 99. And I will say, with the fair reason, that would make sense. Now, just walk through this with me for a second. Fair reason means no fanaticism. Fanaticism would be based in religion or nationalism. So for me, reading that, it means an erasure of all countries. So you have no allegiance to any country. So you would have no fanaticism toward a country, toward your nationalism, toward your flag, toward your country's economy, toward immigration or anything. But at the same time, fanaticism through religion, they would have to remove religion because that itself would be fanatical. And you see how much fanaticism over the last several thousand years there have been through all the religions. So just even that statement alone means to me, one world government, removal of all borders, and reduction of all religion. I don't know how they would do that, but reducing so there's no religion, or it was a one world religion that could be controlled so there would be no, like you say, fanaticism without tempered reason. So maybe I'm reading a little deep into that, but that's kind of where I was looking at when I was doing the video the other day.
And you got everybody brain implanted So you can read all their
Yes.
thoughts and you can control their thoughts. You can actually manipulate the chemicals in the brain. And China just released some technology that they probably had for years. I actually remember reading something similar to this, but their new algorithms will be able to read the mind of somebody to decide how much of a, how much they support their masters. And I mean, first of all, they've got video games that have been out for 15 years or longer that I wrote about 15 years ago. Well, actually closer to 10 years ago, but they were, they take the brain waves of where you wanted that person to move on the computer screen, that little digital, the Digiman and or, whatever you were doing, you could use your mind to influence the video game. So it's picking up what you're thinking. And after about a half hour of modifying itself, it can pick up pretty accurate what you are thinking, and it's a publicly available video game. It's publicly available technology. If everybody is brain implanted, a part of this 500 million network, it would be so easy to have algorithms to dictate what those 500 million thought. So people could think they've got free will. Meanwhile, this algorithm is telling them what to think in their mind. And if they don't find a way to implant people, I wouldn't be surprised if they could use technologies that would be almost as effective wirelessly. That's my theory. But just two more things I want to read here, or wait, three more things. Number 8 on the guidestones, balance personal rights with social duties. Who decides personal rights? Who
Social
decides?
credit score.
Yeah, dude, you're right. You're right. That's creepy. That's effing.
Yeah, just substitute the words. That's exactly what a social credit score is based on, those two things.
Do you know who I think really did? Do you know who I think did the guidestones? You know who I think I was?
Ted Turner.
No, okay, let me rephrase that. Do you know who I think left the explosives or had that move made? That's just a theory. It's just a theory. I just came to me.
I'm all about theories. I'm going to say they're bringing in the new world. They're bringing in the order of the new era by coming up with their gold-backed currencies with several other nations, and they're also pledging their commodities either in the earth that are still mineable or those that are sitting in warehouses elsewhere that have been refined already. And they're using that as a backing for the new currency. So there's literally something physical behind it to back up the paper value. Compared to what we do in the States, which is you got to buy our oil, you got to use our dollars to buy the oil. But I even heard now that Saudi Arabia is going to be going away and moving over into the BRICS nations and accepting oil purchase with the new BRICS currency. So the whole, complete world order based on the dollar and the military protection on the dollar. And if you didn't kowtow into using the dollar, as we've seen how many nations fall because they wanted to move to their gold-backed currencies and accept payment for oil in euros or gold or other things, that time is over. And if the U.S. dollar is not used, then what happens? Can you imagine the hyperinflation make Germany look like a bargain? I mean, Weimar Germany would be a bargain in comparison to what would happen because there's more money now. I mean, the most amount of money ever printed in human history ever. Like the amount of dollars printed at the time to try to, go into the hyperinflationary events would be either post-World War I in Austria or post-World War II with Germany. And, there's in Zimbabwe and Venezuela, wherever we sit in that, number game in there, that's going to be like that. And where ours will be way up here. It's going to be orders of magnitude above any of them. It'll just take that first implementation. So if something were to happen in New York, then there would be an instant hyperinflation event in the States to the point where we would have no imports. Nothing would be accepted because, the way I was talking with others that are overseas, these countries in the beginning are going to be using their own central bank digital currencies that are backed by precious metals or by actual commodities. But if they're going to want to purchase something from that nation in the beginning before they integrate everything into their one BRICS currency in the basket, you're going to have to acquire that central bank digital currency of that nation to be able to buy it, to import it. So if we're in a hyperinflationary event, it costs like $16 million to get $1 of equivalent, but then your product costs $100, or you're going to be looking at hundreds of millions of dollars of what was our former money to get even just one simple thing from like China sent over here. But you're going to have to buy their central bank digital currency on the open market to acquire it, to be able to even order or purchase that, they're not going to accept dollars any longer. So that where does that put us in the whole scheme of things then? I don't know.
I would say if that happened, we would have to quit exports. We're not exports, quit imports, have a completely new localized micro community society where you're producing as much as you can here in the States. And then you would have to create a new currency that, what didn't Abraham Lincoln issue a currency to offset the banker currency back in the day?
Before Booth took care of him.
Yeah, before Booth took care of him. Yeah.
Central bank Booth.
Wow, man. What do you think about that? What if we literally as a society said, okay, well, now our exports are worth something, but our imports, we have to pay 100 times more than what we did before. So our dollar has gone down to 1 cent. Would you continue to buy stuff with your dollars overseas, or would you be like, okay, well, now let's figure out a way here at home. Let's issue new currency. It's just going to be who is in control at the top levels. We need real people. We need you. Are you one of the top world elites running the show? Can you please have some compassion on humanity? Because I promise you, it will come back in, it will come back to you. Treat others kindly. It will come back to you. We can still save the world with 7 billion people. We don't need to reduce the population by 6.5 billion. There's so much out there we can do. Let's do it. Let's take these technologies that you have tucked away, because it would destroy your corporations if you allowed them to come out. It would destroy your profit margins. Let's forget about the profit margins for a minute, and let's bring this stuff out, because you know what's going to happen? The profits are going to come. They're going to come. But you know what else is going to happen? You're going to be saving people's lives, and you're going to be helping humanity, not destroying it. And if you think helping humanity is destroying it by cutting it down to 90% population, then why? Why do you think that? Is it the 6.5 billion out there that are destroying the planet? Or is it the very few elite that you know that are destroying the planet? Maybe not you, but maybe people that you work with. You know they're destroying the planet because they're putting forever chemicals in the water. They're putting nuclear reactors next to fault lines. They know about what they're doing to the planet, yet they're still doing it. And they're blaming us. They're blaming us. Come on. Where are you? Where is your humanity? Where is your soul? Do you have a soul? I'll bet you do. I'll bet all of you do. We need you. This now more than ever, we need you to do the right thing. Please do the right thing. Please have compassion for humanity, because we would do the same for you. How many people out there would still go and save somebody's life, even though they knew that person had spent a lifetime attacking and destroying the other people's rights? There would still be millions of people that would save your life. So please be kind to people. Wow.
That's a great message to leave with. And then, that as we transition through these points here, we're still here. So you have to think of all the cataclysms that, Rex and Diamond and Ransom and, I talk about, and so many others, Christian and up at Ice Age Farmer and whatnot. And cataclysms here, there, and everywhere. But we still have made it to this point. So what we're about to move through is an economic catastrophe. It's not a cometary impact. Huge difference. So if we were able to live through cometary impacts and still have and build back from that to the 7 billion after getting wiped out to 10 million, and coming back from that multiple times along the timeline, and then just this little economic thing where you won't have the money. Okay, a lot of people lost the skills, but then there again, the hopefulness. So could you teach people skills? Can we come together to share skills and have more of a OJT type of skill training thing we're going on in these communities, where everybody takes everybody else under their wing for a week to do chores? Like I'm doing this fence right now. I never put up a fence before. Do you know how long it took us we have these 4x4 wooden posts to dig them in the ground, and we concreted a bunch of them in because we wanted more strength on it. Creating H posts with 6-inch cross posts, H posts, running it down, tying these things off with clips, nailing things up, using ratchets to get everything. Even what I learned by doing this project myself on my own land, I could definitely help out with somebody else, or at least have enough to be dangerous to teach somebody else, gardening, raising chickens, whatever. I mean, there's ways that we can all get through this by helping each other versus fighting each other. So think about the cataclysm possibilities versus this little tiny bump in history when they're resetting the money. A comet slamming onto an ice sheet and removing 90% of the animals off the planet and dropping global temperatures 15 Celsius in a matter of less than a year is nothing to even think about compared to, oh, your money's going to change. They're not going to use the dollar so much. You're going to have to switch over to a gold-backed currency from Russia and China. Oh, woohoo, I'm so scared. I'm more terrified of the magnetic field flipping on the planet or another comet coming in or massive 12.0 earthquakes ripping through some continents in half than I would be a monetary reset. So if you put it in perspective on where we've been in the last 12,000 years, what we're about to face is really, in the grand scheme of things, insignificant. And if you put it into that perspective, if we help each other, that's why the villages were the best places to be. The only way you ever survived in history was being in a village, surrounded by others, helping each other. There were no lone wolves cruising around the forest through the last 10 or 12,000 years because you'd have been eaten or attacked. Community, it's so interesting how everything ancient or everything old revolves back, and it's just a cycle again. We're all going to revolve right back to communities again. It's so interesting how we're forced by doing it. And these corporations are the ones in the planet, because I don't have a super tanker. I don't have a 16 million square foot factory banging out, steel where I needed to go off and dig millions of tons of earth off of a mine somewhere and have the giant refining capabilities and use that much water. That's not me. I don't have that. Corporations do, but they're going to blame me for this. So they're the ones that are, putting out how many millions of metric tons every year. So I don't know. It's a mixed up world, but welcome to it, because the change is here. The new era dawned as the guidestones were taken out. Hope you're ready for it. I am. I'm trying to get my best prepared and mentally prepared too, because, Rex, you talk about the manifestation, using mind to create reality. I've said this once before, where we sit today in the juncture is the news is getting you to create the reality that they want. The programming, quote unquote, is getting you to manifest in your mind the thoughts that they want the outcome. And when I say they, I'm talking about central bank and the elite, levels of society that we're not privy to or welcome into. They're controlling it to use your mind to manifest that you should have your own capability to manifest, but it's being hijacked. Has been hijacked for how many, maybe hundreds of years with the printing press, and moving forward now with radio. And, as I sit around, I look at the world, I'm just as guilty of maybe even thinking that there would be food shortages. If I created my own reality, or if I never thought that, I wouldn't even be, and I would still be living in 2015 when everything was running smooth. Or have I created this reality around me, and it's my own personal reality that I created, that you're actually different from me in your own reality, that we're separated by dimensions, basically, where I've created my own dimension with this own set of circumstances by thinking it. Sometimes I get into this loop of thought like that, where if I never thought there would ever be a food shortage ever once, or supply chains would never break down ever, and I never knew anything about solar cycles and cycles of time repeating, if I never ever thought that, and it was never in my consciousness, would the reality that I see and face now be still here, and I'm even on the same world that you would be? Or are we completely separated in dimensional reality, but we overlap in areas? I don't know. It's a deep question. I'm sure you have an answer. But anyway, thanks for letting me chat, man.
Well, thank you for the chat, man. This has been awesome. And so, I just wanted to make a couple more points, and always awesome talking with you, brother. So after number 9 on the guidestones, it says prize, truth, beauty, love. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Keep going.
Okay. It says
number 9 and 10.
Number 9 says prize, truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. And that is so noble to me. Like, that is so honorable. I love that. I think that's beautiful.
That's the only one I like out of those.
It's brilliant. So if that's like really what you want to do, then I think that's very honorable, but is that really what you want to do? That's why I went on that rant a minute ago. I'm just wondering how many people out there that really think like they're following these guidestones, yet if they were to look, I've got my own issues. I've got my own problems. We all do. I wouldn't trade my problems for yours. You probably wouldn't trade yours for mine. So I'm not, nobody's perfect. We all got issues. We all got bills and issues. That's what makes us, if I didn't have bills and issues, I'd probably be dead. So bills and issues are cool, right? Means we're here, we're alive. But to prize truth, beauty, love, and to seek harmony with the infinite. You're going to give people an opportunity to be what they want to be. That's what God made us for, is to be like, he made us to go. I don't want to say he, God made us so that we could make our own decisions. God made us to be free. God loves us. So why do we need other people out there that have a lot more money and power and resources to dictate my freedom, my beauty, my love, my passion for the infinite? I don't need you to tell me how to do that. I can do it myself. So if that's really what you want to do, let me find God myself. Let others find God's, find their God or find their divinity themselves. Don't force it on them. That's not right. And you know what? Number 10, I love number 10. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Absolutely. Mother Nature is a part of God. Mother Nature is a divine being. She clothes us. She feeds us. I mean, think about it. How much do we get from Mother Nature? And how many times have you heard Mother Nature heals? Nature heals, because Mother Nature is sacred. So I'll tell you what, though, I can drive from here to the other side of the country, and there's so much open space. There's so much beauty. There's so much nature. It's a very abundant. It's all around us. So why would we need to, unless, look, 500 million.
Forced into cities and those parts of that area of what you just described in the country are off limits. You've seen those maps and whatever, the red and yellow maps, right?
Right. And so, David, what if there is an alien presence, whether it's interdimensional or from another planet, or maybe it's a being that can focus on multiple dimensions and go to multiple dimensions, and it's decided that it wants Earth for its playground. And so it's decided that by creating this formula, it will maintain perpetual balance with 500 million people in complete control. And it feels like it's doing the right thing because it maybe isn't even human. And it has other people that are human, that are super rich and super elite. Maybe it's influencing what they're doing and they don't even realize it.
Yeah, I had the thought, like, these things that are always supposed to be coming in the future, perhaps they have already been 100% implemented, but that is the trickery of what you're describing is. It's always in the future. It's coming at some time, but you're living inside what's already been designed for that control system, but you don't know it because they're always dangling the carrot that it's coming in the future. But maybe it's so deep and so all-encompassing and so disguised that we're in it. So they keep that AI is coming. Perhaps we're completely immersed in it, and we have been for, eons and centuries, but we just think that it's coming, versus what is here in reality for control systems now. You don't think a social credit store or whatever they're talking about societal control in the future is already here right now. I mean, you say the wrong thing and you get banned off of internet. You say the wrong thing, they close your bank account. Now it's more in your face, but going back through time, has this already been implemented the way the control was already set to be, but they're playing going to be in the future, so you don't look that it's already here now?
The AI is advancing. It's to think that AI wouldn't advance is silly. So if it's, like you said, been controlling us for a very long time, it continues to advance and it continues to control. So for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So as we get smarter, the AI must get smarter and adapt also. And if it gets to a point where, cosmically speaking, we can attain full consciousness and then completely break out of this matrix, then it would lose its energy source. And maybe it feels like it needs to be a part of us for survival, such as...
Or perhaps that's the reset. Once we get to that point of consciousness that it breaks out and it is a reset, that's the great reset, is humanity has finally reached a consciousness point where whatever happens, those two worlds split, and then the AI goes back and starts it over again, and then the humanity moves to another point on a reset. A different way to look at it. I mean, both are possible because they keep talking about singularity, but what happens at that singularity? Well, something's obviously needs to split. So perhaps the way that they're keeping you in fear during this time, like they did with the transition from 1999 to the year 2000, it was fear, it's fear, it's fear. Everything's fear. The control mechanism is big, but keeping humanity under 500 million. But dude, you'd be a fun dad. He'd be a super fun dad. Imagine Rex as your dad. Oh my! And and Diamond is your dad. Like, oh.
Well, I definitely don't get bored. So, we're always out doing something. And I think it's beautiful, this world that we live in. And I respect so many people and so many different cultures and ideas that I just want to thank everybody. And I want to, if you are somebody that can make a change, thank you. And I think we're all people that can make a change, every one of us. So I want to thank all of you. And David, you're awesome, man. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your work on YouTube and Patreon, and any other words of wisdom you can share this before we finish up this super cool podcast. This is like one of our best. Every time we do a show, it gets better.
But I would say, if you can teach somebody else your skills that can help us work together and produce food, whatever it is, repair something, medicines, foods, production, repair, anything, construction, woodworking, whatever it is, art, anything you can teach to another that can help our society move in a positive direction forward through these times of change. And we are here. Like I say, I'm going back to the Guidestones. That was the starting gun of true change. We've been waiting for it. We're looking for the signs. Everybody's looking for the signs. That was it. That was the biggest one that I have seen so far to this date. The next one would be the complete reversal of currencies to move away from the U.S. dollar. And then after that, we'll see when we move forward into the crop pricing coming in September. But anyway, if you can help retain your skills and pass them on to somebody else, that would be my advice.